So we stopped at the first verse and we read the whole commentary by Sri Aurobindo, and now we will continue with the hymn. I will start with the first verse again. Yunjate mana uta yunjate dhiyah vipra viprasya brahato vipaschitah vihotra dadhe mayunavit eka it mahid devasya savituh parushtutih. Man illumined yoked their mind, and they yoke their thoughts to him who is illumination and largeness and clear perceiving. Knowing all phenomena, he orders, soul, the energies of the sacrifice. Vast is the affirmation in all things of Savitri, the divine creator. This we read with you. Sri Aurobindo translates Vayuna as phenomena and Hotra as the energies of the sacrifice, which is quite interesting. It is by yoking our thoughts and mental concentration to his luminous and vast mind, to the one who knows all the phenomena of our existence and all the processes of our transformation, Hotra. Hotra is from root hu, juhoti, and havayati, both. It's interesting. In the first class, havayati is calling, invoking, and juhoti is offering and making an oblation. So offering and making an oblation, sacrificing, transforming oneself is actually the same root. So Sri Aurobindo translates it as the energies of the sacrifice. Hotrani, says hotra, many hotras, yes. Many forms of invoking and offering, which he establishes and reigns in the universe, that the great all-reaching affirmation of the Supreme can be successfully made in us. Why I add in us? Because parishtutir. It is stuti is interesting word. It's actually praising, yes. But Sri Aurobindo translates root stu as affirming the divinity within us. Stu, the whole lineage of these roots. Staha, sta, stamb. There's the whole list of kindred roots, which have something to do with staying, establishing, situating, yes, stabilizing within oneself.
Are these the energies of the sacrifice?
Stuti is when the deity or the divine force is established by our affirmation within. Affirmation. We affirm that force within our consciousness. And that starts working. Yes, that affirmation makes it work.
So then what are the energies of the sacrifice?
Right, hotras, yes. I was speaking about stuti. Hotras are the invoking, the aspiring, and offering, making an oblation. Yeah? These are the energies. So we need to have a flame within calling to the deity and then being able to make this offering, to give ourselves, to call and to give, or something what we offer of ourselves. And then Vishva Rupani Pratimunchate Kavih Prasavid Bhadram Dvipade Chatushpade Vinakam Akyat Savita Vareniyah Anuprayanam Ushasovi Rajati. All forms he takes unto himself, Pratimunchate, the seer, Kavih, and he creates from them good for the twofold existence and the fourfold. The Creator, the Supreme Good, manifests heaven holy and his light pervades all as he follows the march of the dawns. There is a footnote. All forms are robes of seer, robes the seer puts on, that he may create the good and bliss for the double and the quadruple creature. Savitri describes by his light our heavenly world. Supreme is he and desirable, Varenium, yes? Wide is the light of his shining in the march of the dawn. So the dawn is that link between the world of Savitar and this world. So she brings that vastness into the manifestation. And there is an interesting footnote, which I already referred to, literally two-footed and four-footed, but pad, yeah, chatushpad and dvipad, pedal, and we have here, pada, also means the step, the principle of which the soul founds itself, on which the soul founds itself. The esoteric meaning is four-principled. Those who dwell in fourfold principle of the lower world, four principles are material, physical, vital, mental, and supramental, so to say, all the four realms. And the two-principled, those who dwell in the double principle of the divine and human. And it's kind of interesting. That's how the humans are defined as dvipad, because the major principle of human beings is connection to the divinity above. Yeah? And this connection to the divinity from the heart to the above, this is two foundations of human being. And four foundations of any creature which is evolving are the vital, the physical, vital, mental, and beyond. So basically, they describe two processes of evolution. One is the evolution of the soul, dvipad, that involved a divinity within the heart, which is the projection of the divinity above, and that makes us a human. That psychic being makes us human, not the fourfold evolutionary level of nature makes us human. Without psychic, we will not be human. So there is no connection to the divinity. There is no free will. There is no word. There is nothing which makes us human. So we will stay animals, so to say. And Chatushpat is this general development, evolution of nature. This is from here I figured out what Sri Aurobindo means. It's his interpretation of Dvipat and Chatushpat. By the way, these two describe everything we have to know about our evolution, yes? Soul evolution and the body evolution. So Sri Aurobindo translates Dvipat and Chatushpat as twofold and fourfold existence. So as all the forms he takes on himself, pratimunchate, literally he releases them within himself for himself. Munchate is atmanepada, prati against, onto himself he releases. And by this act he presses out or creates the good for all. The creator Savitar, the supreme choice of all, revealed with his wide work the whole sky. Widely he shines, following the forward movement of the dawn. Yeah, he's Varenya, he's the most choosable for our choice, most desirable for all, most excellent to choose. Vinakamakhyat, he overviews or reveals or manifests or illumines all this with akhyat. Viakhyat, widely he illumines the heavenly world, Savita Varenia, the most desirable to choose, Anuprayanam Ushaso Virajati, and towards and following the movement of the dawn, he is shining wide, literally. Yasya Prayanam.
Vladimir, I had a small question.
Yeah.
So doesn't Padam also mean word? Like you said,
Yes, absolutely.
Atmane Padam.
Yes. Padam also means word. It's of later usage, padam,
Okay.
yes. But padam is one meaningful unit, yeah, and that is step. Step is the word.
Okay.
We
Okay.
speak by steps. We speak by words.
Okay.
Kind of by combining meaningful units into the text. Yeah. Interesting, yeah. But it comes from this, from step, of course, not from the word, not from the speaking, but from the walking. And then, yasya prayanam anu anye idyayuh deva devasya mahimanam ojasa yaf parthivani vimamesa etashach rajansi deva savita mahitvana. In the wake of his march, the other gods also reach by his force to the greatness of the divinity. Devasya Mahimanam Ojasa, by the power to the greatness of the god, Devaha, the gods, Yayuh, yeah? Anu Ojasa, Anu Yanam, Yasya Prayanam Anu Anye Devaha, Id Yayuh. Go, indeed. Devasya Mahimana Mojasa. By the ojas, by the power, they reach to the divine greatness. Interesting. The gods are reaching to the divine greatness, to the greatness of divinity. They have also something to reach to. Yeah? They have also to increase their luminosity, their devas, their luminous beings, but they come to the greatness of luminous beings. So they are kind of intensifying their divinity, as it were. He has mapped out the realms of earthly light by his mightiness. Parthivani, Rajansi, Mahitvana, by his mighty, by the mighty, or by his mightiness. The brilliant one, Etashach, the divine creator, Savitar. Interestingly, Sri Aurobindo translates Savitar as divine creator, Devach Savitar. Devach is divine, creator Savitar. From root su, to create, to press out, to manifest. So there is a good name for Savitar as a creator, manifester of all divine properties into our world, whose movement forward all the other gods have followed, and by his power reach to his greatness.
Destroyers.
Huh?
Sorry.
The one who all the earthly spaces measured out by his might, he is the mighty steed of the sun, Etashach. It's another word for the steed of the sun, the divine impeller, Savitar. Now I translate impeller here, well, which is also from Su. There is a footnote 16. It's another translation. And in that march, all the other gods in their might follow after the greatness of this Godhead. This is that bright God Savitar who, by his power and greatness, has measured out our earthly worlds of light Interesting thing, Parthivani Rajansi, earthly lights, earthly luminous spaces. Rajansi usually are vital spaces, of the vital world, of the pranic world. And Parthivani can be translated as earthly or from Prithu, vast, vast pranic worlds, luminous pranic worlds. He measures. But it has connection with manifestation, of course, because Prithvi is the place, the vast place, the vast realm, where Prithvi means vast being, yes, where all things are located from the divine, manifested, revealed, spelled out in time and space, get their new life in the body. Right, and then utayasi, savitah trini rochana, uta suryasya vrashmibih sam uchyasi, uta ratrimu bhayatah pariyase, uta mitrah bhavasi deva dharmabhih. And thou reachest, O Savitri, to the three luminous heavens, and thou art utterly expressed by the rays of the sun. And thou encompassest the night upon either side, and thou becomest, by the law of thy actions, the Lord of love. Yes, I have a longer here text from my side. Let me put it here all together on one page. End. Uta is the Vedic end. And thou reachest, Uta yasi, and you go, yeah? Savitar, or Savitar, Trini Rochana, to the three luminous realms of the ray of the sun, or over mental realms, yes? Intuition over mind and supramental over mind. And you move, let us say, through or by or to the Trini Rochana, three luminous realms. And thou art utterly expressed by the rays of the sun. Suryasya rashmibhih sam uchyasi. I think from here Sri Aurobindo took it to give this name to the overmind as the realms, luminous realms of the sun, of the rays of the sun, sorry. Luminous realms of the rays of the sun. And he will use this, the rays of the sun realms, all the time, to indicate Svar world or to indicate over mental worlds. Not the world of the sun, but the world of the rays of the sun. So there is a world intermediary between the sun and the other world, and this world is the world of the rays, when the rays are released into the darkness finally. Or let us say when the body of the sun penetrates the darkness, and when it penetrates, it releases the rays. The sun body becomes kind of spelled out in rays. Utaratrimu bhayatah pariyase, and you encompasses the night upon either side, ubhayatah, on both sides, you embrace, pariyase, you go around both sides of the night. So you kind of take night into your embrace. So the night is within, not somewhere out, not below. It is within the Savitar's embrace. Utamitro bhavasi deva dharmabhih, and thou becomest by the law of thy actions the Lord of love. Mitra, or God, Deva. It's interesting to see for those who study Sanskrit and notice this phrase, Mitro Bhavasi Deva. And notice the Mitro is the accent on that, Mitrach, yeah, on the second, because Anudatta and Udatta. And then Bhavasi is Svarita, which means that Bhavasi is an accented word, no accent. So Mitro Bhavasi Deva, and Deva is unaccented. Yeah, so it's kind of, we figure out that this is the vocative, O God. Yeah? All right, O Savitar, you move within or towards the three luminous realms of Svar, intuitive mind, overmind, and supermind, supramental overmind. Sorry, I will change. Supramental. Totally fit to the rays of the sun, the outpouring of the supramental light, enclosing night from both sides, from above and from below, and by your laws, which are supporting the manifestation throughout, you thus become Mitra, the supreme consciousness of the Divine Mother, Aditi, creating all that is in your all-measuring perception. Mitra is, as Sri Aurobindo says, it's the divine consciousness. Here he translates it as love, the Lord of love. It's kind of interesting. Consciousness, and he puts into it love, because Mitram in the neuter becomes the friend in Sanskrit, in classical Sanskrit. Yes, Mitram. And it's from root ma, actually, to measure or to create the form. There's Mata, Matri, the mother, measurer, yeah, creatrix. Also, Mitra is the creator, because what he does with his consciousness, he measures out the being. Sat, he measures the elements of the infinite being, and by measuring them out, he creates them. Yeah? This is how Mitra creates. Divine consciousness is a creator. And you become the creator of the kind of, and that's why I add also the Aditi here. Mitra, the supreme consciousness of the Divine Mother, Aditi, creating all that is in your all-measuring perception. And here, interesting, dharma bhih, by dharmas. What is dharma in this case? Because when consciousness measures out something of the divine being, which is infinite, and if it is not measured out by consciousness, it stays unmeasured, beyond measurement, known to itself only. But when it is measured out, and held by dharmas. Dharma is something which holds a particular measurement as such, in its own, yeah? By its own kind of, it becomes alive in its own right. I found the word. In its own right, it becomes alive. Otherwise, it was not there. It was a part of this infinite being, yes, and vast, without being articulated, without being spelled out, without being formed, measured out. So Mitra, or the divine consciousness, does this by holding one particular aspect highlighted, expressed, yeah? And that creates the worlds.
Like a cutout from a piece of white sheet, a big white sheet.
Right. Like cut out, this is always cutting, always measuring out one piece against the other as highlighting one particular aspect or quality or, detail or property or, event in this infinite being, and highlighting it, making it in itself alive. But how would you make it? Only by dharma. You assign to it the longevity, or how to say, durability. You make it in itself existent, as it were.
Could it be the truth of one's being?
Yeah, truth. Truth is something which has to do with manifestation. It is in the process of manifestation that what consciousness does. Yes, first it has to do this before it is formed by power into its own being, and then gets its own delight from that formation, and then it has to be put into time and space framework. What Vijnana does, it takes it and puts it into time and space, so to say, manifests it there, spreads it in space. So these rays of light reach out to the darkness and becoming spelled out. But their dharmas are already formed by the consciousness within.
That measurement reminds me of the story you told about the creation of grammar by taking the infinite expression and chopping it into pieces. That measurement.
Right. I think the process will be everywhere the same. And there, Indra, the Lord of the Divine Mind, which is also interesting, mind, Mitra, Ma, is the same root, Man, Manas, Ma, is the same, making, measuring out. Manas has one particular powerful quality, is to fix consciousness upon one element. Yeah? And concentrating on one element and identifying it with oneself. So the power of self-identity, or of knowledge by identity, comes from this capacity of the consciousness to fix itself upon any object of sense or any image of things. Yes, and from there, getting the meaning of it, deep meaning, divine meaning, true meaning of it. So Ma, Man, Mitra, Mother, it's all of that quality of consciousness which is capable of fixing itself by dharma. Again, dharma, dharana. Dharana is fixation, concentration, and dharma is the same. Dharma is that which is held by concentration of consciousness. Now you see how interestingly the Sanskrit works. It has really a vast kind of applications in many texts over thousands of years because of their roots and their usage of those roots in the texts which define their, practical psychology approach. So we can always arrive at new meanings. Yes, Gita.
Sorry. Why only one element?
Well, one of 2, 3, 4, but not infinity. Infinity has to be spelled out. The elements of infinite being, undifferentiated, have to be differentiated. Have to be seen as such. How would we know that what is what? How peanut butter tastes? You would never know. Because there would be the same taste of Ananda for all things. But there is a distinction between, different tastes and different enjoyments and different applications, different events. It's all created by consciousness out of infinite being. Is it something you are asking, or you were saying something else, Itashri?
I still can't understand why one element.
What one element? You mean why element is highlighted? Or what?
Yes, is it our consciousness that can only focus on like one element can go towards the light in one direction, one element at a time.
It's a matter of speech, of course. One, it doesn't mean only one element. You can focus on several elements and hold your consciousness. Means holding concentration. Yeah? You can concentrate on the divine, yeah, and or on the infinite being, if you want, and hold your consciousness there and grow into that consciousness. There is one way to know things is to fix one's consciousness upon that image of things or object of sense. Yeah. If I focus it on, I do not know, on some word, I will try to understand the word. Word grows into me, like we do with these words, dharma, dharana, and so on. This concentration helps, especially with Sanskrit, and with any other language for that matter. If you're really focused, you can get out of anything the divine properties. It's by concentration we can get the knowledge. Yeah? That's what Vivekananda said. If I only knew that concentration is the only thing I have to learn, I would not waste my time doing other things. Why? Because the capacity of consciousness grows with focus. Yeah? You hold, you don't deviate, you go deeper, 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 and you get more and more out of it, until you are totally identified with the object of sense. And the highest identity is samadhi. Yes? When you become the object. You know the object because you are the object. There is no more object. There is only knowing subjectively the thing. Yeah? And that is the highest form of knowledge possible, as it were.
Thank you, thank you. I understood.
Yeah,
Vladimir,
there is no
I
other.
also,
Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry, I also noticed something that these words, dharma, dharana, etc., have a lot of connection with motherhood or the mother who kind of creates things out of herself. Is there a connection?
Of course, it is out of herself because she is him, yeah, who is pulling out everything and manifesting. So it is him who is doing that pulling, manifesting, holding, and that him who is doing it, we call her, yeah, mother. There is no other mother. It's him. Aditi is him. Without him, I exist not. Yeah? There is no existence without him. But without me, he is unmanifest. So he is within himself. I think we are speaking it's a manner of speaking. We are assigning words or roots to one reality and want to describe it because our surface being is so separated and so formulated that it needs to understand it in those terms. We are actualizing it in that way. But truly speaking, it's a one reality, one divine, which is, well, which is here doing things. And we are trying to tap into it through these different functionalities and hymns. Rishis could do it better. Sri Aurobindo did it very well. So he tapped into that reality through the words. Words were the means of combining energy in such a way that that connection is being established. And a new consciousness can shine through. And the words already play differently. Once that connection is established, they reveal the secrets of true relations within the one. And they have that. Otherwise, they would not work. They would not create a bridge if they would not have that truth in them, true relations. All right. So, the profound perception here is that the light of Savitar is rising to Swar. Yeah. Truly speaking, Uta, there is no rising, going, but Sri Aurobindo says rising, reachest, goes, but also thou goes. You see, he's not saying rising. O Savitri, to the three shining worlds you go of heaven, and thou art made manifest by the rays of the sun. Interesting, thou art made manifest by the rays of the sun, and thou art in circles on both sides the night, and thou becomest Mitra, O God, with his settled laws of truth. So, arising, I don't remember why I did this, but let me read through and then maybe correct myself. The profound perception here is that the light of Savitar is rising to Swar and enclosing the night from both sides, manifesting a perception of simultaneous oneness with transcendental. There is a passage in The Secret of the Veda where Sri Aurobindo explains the phenomena of the Vedic night. That's why I say rising, most probably. Let me see. But the cave is only the home of Panis, this subconscious cave where the light is hidden and which has to be released. Their field of action is earth and heaven and midworld. They are the sons of the inconscience, but themselves are not precisely inconscient in their action. They have forms of apparent knowledge, maya, but these are forms of ignorance, the truth of which is concealed in the darkness, in the inconscient, and their surface or front is falsehood, not truth. For the world as we see, it has come out of the darkness, concealed in darkness, the deep and abysmal flood that covered all things, the inconscient ocean, apraketam salilom in the hymn of creation. In that non-existence, the seers have found the desire in the heart and thought in the mind that which builds up the true existence. This non-existence of the truth of things, asat, is the first aspect of them that emerges from the inconscient ocean, and its great darkness is the Vedic night, Ratrim Jagatoni Vershanim. We read this in the hymn to Savitar, which holds the world and all its unrevealed potentialities in her obscure bosom. We have these notions always in Savitri, yes? Night extends her realm over the triple world of ours, and out of her, in heaven, in the mental being, dawn is born, who delivers the sun out of the darkness, where it was lying concealed and eclipsed, and creates the vision of the supreme day in the non-existence. In the night, asati ketum. In the asat, the light, ketum. It is therefore in these three realms that the battle between the lords of light and the lords of ignorance proceeds through its continual vicissitudes. That's where we are, in this battlefield between these armies of light and darkness, which are clashing within us and fighting for our soul as a costly prize, as he says somewhere. So we are the costly prize for these forces. That's why most probably I said rising, because the supermind is not only descending upon to support the rising of the truth, yeah? not only answering, but also rising from below. So to say, manifesting from below, from within, let us say. So the sun is on both sides. It embraces night from below and from above. And while it is rising from below, it is more and more become available from above, reaches out from above. Sri Aurobindo's yoga, of course, is unique. Of course, he has the ascent to the supermind, the ascent of the sacrifice. Yes, 2 chapters in the synthesis of yoga. Most probably Jayashri was mentioning this in her course, because this ascension is actually important, yes, and this ascension is also ascension of consciousness, which is within our mental, is the supramental, which has to be manifested. And he is beautifully describing that when the darkness is rising from below to heaven, then it reveals the dawn there, you know? And the dawn brings the sun. So it was concealed within the darkness. Yeah, these are the figures of speech. These are the symbols of our, it's not a, and it is also a description of what is really happening.
Vladimir, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Actually, when you were just explaining this whole thing about the sun rising from the darkness, into the dawn, it gave me a new insight into the yoga of sleep, which is that, we fall to sleep, we fall into the darkness, but if we work towards conscious sleep, what we are working towards is the rising of the sun.
Nice. I get it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
To become more and more conscious in the darkness. Yeah.
Yes. Right? Do you think that is an appropriate?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if we are going together, everything what we also do in the day, we had to do in the night. Yes.
Yes.
And I think it's a replica of the day, the night in some way. Of course, with more. Well, I was thinking why all creatures sleep, not only because the earth turns away from the sun and there is night, or because of that also. Physically, it's very difficult to be active, yes, when there is no light. Some creatures are doing it anyhow, some owls and so on. But also, there is something interesting. I saw how owls sleep, they fall asleep. They're sitting on the, and with their babies, they fall asleep. And I looked at them and I thought, where do they go when they sleep? They have their worlds where they go also. They regenerate something there for themselves to live afterwards, some energy, some consciousness they tap into. Why creatures sleep? Where do they go, really? You see how cats sleep, or dogs, sometimes they run and woo, they dream something. They have their worlds where they go. It's amazing to think that everybody sleeps, goes somewhere into the subtle worlds where they have originated from. It's not only human beings. We
Even
all
plants and trees, even they sleep. That's why in India they say don't pluck a plant or cut it at night in the evening, because its energies are, it's turning towards sleep.
Very
And
interesting.
you don't kill a thing in its sleep. So we don't pluck plants in the evening or cut them for decorating.
Interesting. Even plants, most probably, yes, they also fall asleep.
Yeah.
They breathe differently. They start breathing oxygen actually in the night, I think.
Correct.
remember, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And I mean, this is a little digression from what we are studying, but it's also related to it. I was watching a documentary on trees, on forests,
Mhm.
and it said that when we water the roots of the uh, tree has channels inside the trunk by which it pushes the water from below up
Mhm.
into the branches. But this the water rises only up to half the tree. After that, it cannot rise anymore because the energy is only up to there that the tree can provide. So then what happens is that a higher energy enters the tree due to the sunlight and the um,
Mm.
I'm forgetting that the process that takes place in the
Chlorophyll, that.
and that energy, that power from the sun comes down and it lifts the water up into the branches and the leaves. So I was thinking this is like the ascent and the descent of force within the plant.
Very
The water rises only half the way,
of the
and
way,
the
and then it has
yes,
to be pulled.
and then it's pulled up by a higher power that comes from above.
And even trees built like this, if you look, their branches and
It,
their roots is
so
actually half
beautifully
tree.
balanced.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so beautifully nature balances
Uh-huh.
all her laws in every living creature. I was so astounded.
Right. I've watched also another documentary on trees that they discovered that they have heartbeats. Like one pulse once in 2 hours or 3 hours. Every different tree has a one boom. um, and
Mm,
and over a long time, that's why we never notice that they have anything, because we don't relate it to anything. But if you
mm,
look over a long time, there is something, some impulse is kind of doing something, pushing
mm,
some energy within the tree.
mm.
There is no heart center, but there is a need of that push, like a heartbeat. Interesting. Anyhow, we know very little because these are living beings.
Yes,
Of course,
yes,
trees are living beings, definitely.
yes.
They are born, they live, they die, they produce progeny.
They
So,
communicate.
absolutely. They know each other from the distance. They know everyone who is damaging them. They are most probably hating human beings because human beings damage them so much. Um, that could be also a big problem for us. We need to make friends with them, with trees, talk to them, yeah, bring them back to friendly relations. In Norway, they do this. Yeah, they made many trees, forests, newly born forests are there. There were never forests, and now it is a lot of forests. They produce the biggest number of paper in Norway now. It was without forests, and now they produce from their forests the biggest number of papers. So human beings can help trees to grow. All right, I will stop here for today. Oh, one more. Let me take already one more, and so we will finish the whole hymn. Okay? We have still time. Ute shishe prasavasya tuvam tvam eka id uta plusha bhavasideva yama bhih utedam vishvam bhuvanam virajasi shyavashvaste savitach stomam anashe. And thou art powerful for every creation, and thou becomest the increaser, O God, and thy movings, and thou illuminest utterly all this world of becomings. Shyabashva has attained to the affirmation of thee, O Savitri. And there is a footnote. for a good idiomatic and literary translation, rendering these the sense of and rhythm of the original, certain freedom in turning the Sanskrit is necessary. I have therefore given a more literal version of its phrases in the body of the commentary. This is Sri Aurobindo's footnote, actually. And thou alone hast power for the creation, and thou becomest the increaser, O God, by thy marchings in thy path, and thou illuminest all this world of the becoming. Shiavashva Savitri has found the affirmation of thy Godhead. I love these words, affirmation of thee. It has totally different, sense. Stoma, again, stuti, stoma, anashe, attained, arrived, achieved, and even realized, and even enjoyed. Enjoyed, in a sense, experienced the establishment of yours, O Savitar. Of all the strives towards the growth, you are the Soul Master, and you become an increaser, Pushan, O God, with your many movements. For you reveal by your wide light all the world of becomings. Shiavashva has realized your perception in him by affirmation of you, O Savitar. He realized his consciousness by affirming Savitar, knowing what he does, how he creates, how he manifests the worlds. This is an important knowledge for us also, because by affirming Savitar, knowing what he does and seeing it in the world, we are getting a new consciousness, understanding the world. All right, I will stop here. This was the whole hymn, and we can start another hymn of Atris to Savitar. There is one more Shiavashva Atreya next to it. So next time we will begin that hymn.
So it is like us being stuck always in the antariksha.
Very pessimistic conclusion.
Why are you stuck in the antariksha? Come out of it.
Stuck in antariksha, near term.
But
Well, where else to be stuck? Tell me.
But by our growth of reading, of understanding, we realize that we are somehow being pulled up in our growth, and therefore we can come out of this dark antariksha where we are caught every day.
It's interesting with this tree, what you said, just to tell to Gita Shri's idea of us being stuck. That first half you have to push it yourself. You have to do the work by yourself. It's like tapasya you have to do. And the second half you have to surrender and to let go and to be pulled up by the higher force. It's like surrender comes later. It is not something which you can do at the beginning. The beginning, there is much of your own pushing has to be done. So if you want to be unstuck, do the pushing.
Do it every day, Vladimir, every day.
Good.
That's how I can swim.
Till the time comes, then you are carried by the mother in her lap. And this happens once you push over, you feel that you are now carried. But then we again fall back. So easily we fall back to our own effort. It's a habit. We start pushing there where we should not push. Yeah?
Actually, Sri Aurobindo explains it beautifully in the synthesis. He says, as long as we think it is our effort, the push is required. The day you start believing that there is a higher force within you that does the work, and you are only an instrument, and you start trusting into that higher force, you start getting carried.
Yeah.
Because it is the higher force always that acts. And we have to remember that more and more, that it is the higher force doing it, not me. Then the effort, the tapasya doesn't become so so much of a struggle. Yeah, so much of a struggle. And we are not victims of time, he says. That is how we become free when we know that it is a higher force, then there is eternity ahead of us. We are not bound by time because the higher force works in eternity.
Even for that, you need a growth of consciousness, right?
Of course, but it has to begin with some knowledge somewhere. We have to begin where we are with a little bit of knowledge. And in that sense, he explains it beautifully in the four aids in synthesis. How time works to the benefit and becomes the friend and the instrument rather than an enemy. In the beginning, time is an enemy.
So in the first half, we are the monkey baby, and then the second half, we are the cat baby.
Yes. Beautiful.
It must be changed, yes. In the second half, you cannot continue to be the Tapasvin. Yeah? When the force comes, the grace comes, you cannot continue to do things you think to be done, because then the grace withdraws and you become that dry Tapasvin who is for nothing, really.
Yeah.
This is a great idea of the tree. I can even see the lower part with the branches till the middle of the trunk. It is a tapasvin, the effort is to be made, in the higher half where you have to surrender and to let go. Once you establish that contact, of course, with grace.
That way, even we are like the tree, right? Because we came from the inconscient,
from the earth.
And then we do our tapasya, which is the trunk of the tree, and then we grow.
And then we give our fruit. We give it away.
Yeah.
The fruit is given back to nature.
So that's how we grow too, like the tree.
Yeah.
Somewhere it says that man is designed after a tree. Do you remember that, Vladimir? It might be in the Bible that we're fashioned after a tree.
Yeah.
I thought in the Bible it said we are made in the image of God.
Yeah, but it's also an image.
An image of maybe.
I know it's in there somewhere.
There are things all through, like the image of heaven is with trees that bear fruit all year long, and trees growing by the river, and so forth. I think the image of a tree is really powerful, and I'm thinking about the mycelium that all the fungi that form that network between trees and do the communication between trees and let them know there's so much that we don't see under the ground, that's really similar to the gods participating in the sacrifice. That it's facilitating these other beings that are not the tree, but they're allowing the tree to know its relatives and to help one another. Trees will actually hold back water if someone else is on the point of dying and needs the water. I mean, the work that has been done recently about trees is just so phenomenal. And I think this is a really powerful image of it's one of those microcosm, macrocosm things.
Yeah.
Like the tree of life.
There you go.
The tree of life is in Kabbalah, of course, Kabbalistic tree with 10 sephirots and the crown on the top and the kingdom at the bottom. So this tree of life is actually uniting heaven and earth. Yeah, it is something which is holding both. We have Ashwatthana image of the tree in the Gita and in the Katha Upanishad. Katha is treating it as a Brahman, yes, manifested. So there is this idea of this so beautiful, the branches up and the roots down and holding two, heaven and earth are held by the trunk. Yeah. So very vivid, so to say.
There is also the inverted tree concept where the roots are in the heaven and the leaves and branches are on the ground.
Yeah, Ashwatthana, yes, banyan tree. Right, and it was very positive image, and then became very negative later in the post-Vedic Advaitic time. So it had to be cut off the Ashwatthana, says Krishna, because this creates the kind of the energies which are leading you astray from the path. Yeah? But in the Katha Upanishad, it's very different. There's no cutting off. Is understanding the world as a tree. So things changed, yes. All right, let's do then next time a new hymn, I guess. Let me close with the mantra. Om Sarve Bhavanto Sukhinaha Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste.